Okay. I forgot to charge my cute little 8-bit do. 8-bit do. I don't know how they what the official pronunciation on that name is, but I have a cute little controller I've been using, and I didn't charge it, so I can't use it today. I could have used it plugged in, but it's too much of a hassle. It's okay. Mouse and keyboard it is. So, can we? Ah! What was that? The previously red button. Oh! I feel like... Did I not save? Did I not save? Oh my goodness. Wait. Hold on. Hold on. That's my new one. I remember this whole thing about buying flowers for grandmother though. Oh. Uh-oh, is right. I remember this whole bit about how you bought the flowers and then the other guy got mad, the kid. Oh well, we're just gonna have to see. Maybe it's a different flashback about the same situation. But either way, I don't know, Nervous, if you were here last time. I feel like nothing happens, but then maybe something's happening. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even really tell you. They're still trying to figure out who the stalker is, and we're getting more backstory, which I'm not sure. I think it has become clear that the backstory is Red, because Red talks about the hood that he's wearing that grandmother made him, but grandmother's not his real grandmother, it's this other kid's grandmother. And so he likes to buy flowers for grandmother to make her happy, but the actual grandson that was his friend is jealous that he's buying flowers and being nice to grandmother, and grandmother likes him best. Yeah, he's still rooting up to yeah, I guess getting a little better. He's getting a little more friendly. But yeah, it's rough. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna sip my tea. I mean, I don't have another save, so if I already saw this, then, well, this is where we're at. I don't think I can... This is the new one. Yeah. Oh, wow, I haven't played in over a month. Oops. Autosave. 21/16/52. 1652 cents. Oh no, I think this is right. Okay. Here we go. I was torn, unsure which flowers to buy, unsure which would make grandmother the happiest. At last, I saved up enough money to purchase flowers from the store. All of those nights of going hungry would finally be worth it. So he's starving himself to save his, allowance or something to buy flowers for grandmother. I was in high spirits, excited for the gorgeous bouquet my money could afford. Red, white, pink, purple, yellow, the flower shop was awash in colors. Personally, I was partial to red. Haha, get it? You was red. Oops. After all, it was the same color as the riding hood grandmother had given me. And in my eyes, that made it a special color. My attention was drawn to the roses, which stood out among the rest of the red blooms. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna talk about red flowers, I feel like roses are the standard there. I was by no means an expert in flowers, but roses were familiar, at least. Unfortunately, I couldn't afford a full bouquet of them when the price for even a single rose was exorbitant. I could afford to wait after all. Just then, someone called out to me. Yes. So this is the real grandson. Another lake situation. Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm supposed to read. I was just like, I'll just read it to myself. There, he told me that he got into an argument with grandmother. Nag. Your grandmother just cares for you. There you go. According to him, they gotten into an argument over a small trifle, leading him to run away from home. We all want to run super fast, boy. I felt sorry for him. He was born with a weak constitution that made strenuous activity dangerous. I feel like this idea of a weak constitution or someone who's very sickly is very common in Japanese media, but I actually don't really know like why, like if that is a common, you know, thing, an ailment. Like I guess, you know, anywhere it can be something that, you know, people have, like young children, but it's not something you see in media. I feel like Western media so much. Like if you have a sickly person, it's usually a story about someone, you know, with cancer who's dying, or you know, not like just someone who's weak in general. I was startled to hear this. I never imagined he would say such a thing. Unlike me, he had everything. He's smart and confident and extroverted and rich. Wait, he's rich? I didn't know he was rich. The more I learned about him, the more he felt like he was from a different world entirely. And yet now he claimed he wished he was me. It was simply unbelievable. He dismissed my doubts with a laugh. Tree fort. Have you ever made a tree fort? Oh, you wonder if it was inspired by Victorian romance tragedies. Yeah, you know, that could be it. That is definitely something that they all have weak constitutions in those Victorian novels, right? Or like if you go out in the rain and then you catch a cold, it's like, oh no. And so I agreed to his proposal. Was it because I'd seen a new side of him? Was I tickled by the thought of him envying me? I couldn't say. But if only I had the sense to stop him then, things would have never turned out the way they did. Dun dun dun. We decided to build our tree fort deep in the woods. Meanwhile, I kept watch to ensure he didn't overexert himself. First, we collected tree branches, cardboard boxes, and other materials. Where are they getting these cardboard boxes in the middle of the woods? Then I climbed up our chosen tree and used rope to fix them per my friend's instructions. According to him, this is how tree forts were made. I've never made a tree fort, so I don't know. Time flew by, and soon the sun began to set. Hit the jackpot. Oh. In our search for materials, we came across a large quantity of wooden planks. As we were hauling them back, however, we heard sirens in the distance. Welcome to my cardboard trash fortress in the trees. Just then, I got a really bad feeling. Dread crept into my heart. A sacred vow. This something cool was a blue tarp floating on the lake surface. It really is a trash fortress. It's the fortress of trash you found by the lake. Neither of us knew what it was doing there. Maybe it was blown there by the wind. Also, like, the things in this story really make me wonder what time period it's meant to be set in. You've got, like, really old-fashioned stuff and then a tarp. They don't have plastic tarps. Positioning himself on the very end of the lake pier, he used a tree branch to attempt to reel the tarp in. Unfortunately, the tarp was at the mercy of the lake's tide, which pulled it back and forth. Oh no, little boy. With a firm hold on his calves to keep him from falling in, I kept a close eye on him. Did the music just cut out for everyone? Music cut. Just then, a hard-eyed man came dashing out of the forest. Wolf. The man grabbed me by the arm. Oh, there we go, music. Oh no. Just then, there was a loud splash. Sorry. I'm so shocked. Wait, so this boy is Wolf. Wolf is the friend of our protagonist. My friend had slipped and fallen into the lake. Oh no. Because he was forbidden from most physical activity, naturally he didn't know how to swim. This is a mess. The man whipped off his jacket. Unsure of what to do, I just stood there. He gave me a little push. I was torn between my friend drowning right in front of me and grandmother who had allegedly been whisked away to the hospital. But it's the friend's grandmother. I'm so confused. I turned my back on my friend and took off running. Oh my god. It's all coming together. When I arrived, I found grandmother lying in a hospital bed. I didn't understand what had happened. Just yesterday, she was the very picture of health, but today she stared blankly up at the ceiling, her face pale and lifeless. Evidently, her eyes weren't working, or else she would have known it was me. Yes, so Wolf is the other boy. Whoa. Yeah, you're... The real Wolf is drowning, in the middle of drowning, but I'm here now. I lowered my voice to try to sound more like my friend. Oh my goodness. Tears poured from her unseeing eyes. The sight made my own eyes grow hot, but I blinked back the tears and focused on my act. Oh, I see. Yes, the pieces are falling together. This is the Little Red Riding Hood part of the story. Ain't that the truth? Don't impersonate other children. That's a good rule to follow. He's really putting on quite the act. I choked out the words through my sobs. This was more proof that I was a bad kid. I was supposed to be a stand-in for my friend, but instead I was telling her my own feelings. Nobody asked you to be a stand-in.
こればあちゃんのために花束買ってきたんだ。花好きだろ？ああ、野に咲く花。
Has he been carrying these flowers the whole time? I thought he hadn't actually bought them. I showed her the bouquet I hastily purchased on my way here. There we go. They explained it. I couldn't afford the roses. Carnations are similar to roses, except softer and less intimidating. Much like grandmother herself.
と綺麗な花なんだ。すごく綺麗なんだ。
So she had a stroke or something, and that's why she can't see anymore? Standing at her bedside, I took her hand and brushed it against the flowers. The petals formed the perfect backdrop for her wizened old hand.
本当だ。
Wizened.
すごく綺麗だ。ありがとう。お前はとても優しい。いい。
She smiled softly and closed her eyes. Is grandma gone? I don't remember much of what happened after that. I'm not sure what happened to grandmother or how I got home from the hospital. I just remember standing outside my house. This time the lights were on inside. Was my mother home? By that point, it was late at night. She must have realized that I disobeyed her. Would she yell at me? Would she cry?
ただいま。
When I opened the door, I found my answer. It was then that I understood my mother wasn't going to yell at me, nor would she hug me. She looked at me with cold, unfeeling eyes. And after that day, she never came home again. Oh my God. Wow. Dear Lord, where did I go wrong? If I had obeyed my mother, if I had never ventured outside, if I had never spoken with that wolf, maybe this tragedy could have been averted. But now I am alone. Now I have no one. No one needs me. This is only natural, of course. Because this is my punishment for being bad. Oh.
もう二度と道草
So what happened to the friend? That was a vow I made to myself. I mean, if it really is the same wolf, I think it is, then he's fine. Right? We'll see, I'm sure. Oh. I forgot. When I opened my eyes, I found red blushing beet red. Oh, sorry. I guess I nodded off for a minute there. I forget what's happening. Were we all having a nap or something? His behavior struck me as suspicious, but at the same time, it was pretty par for the course where he was concerned, so I wasn't too worried. I looked around to find that the bright light of midday had now faded to twilight. Gosh, it's gotten late. Guess I got a little too comfy. Ah, yes, Wolf. If it's the Wolf, her friend from school is sick. So she needs to stop by and give him homework. I don't know, check in on him. Yeah, I want to check in on him. Guess we were just chilling by the lake, as you do. Hey, Curse Blessing, thanks for stopping by. How are you doing today? Red lifted his head out of my lap and got to his feet. He offered a hand to help me up, immediately retracted it, then offered it again, more timidly this time. You sure? He turned his flustered face away from me. Thank you. With his large, masculine hand, he held me up onto my feet. Hee hee. Okay. The house marked on the map was a good 30-minute walk from the lake into the woods. It's supposed to be around here. I swiveled my head all around, but it was a forest. All the trees looked the same, so I had no landmarks to go by. Thanks for stating the obvious, Eureka. It was a forest. Red followed half a step behind me. Masculine twink. Yeah, I wouldn't know if I would describe him as particularly masculine. His giant masculine hands. He seemed to have gotten quiet. Yeah, this is the same wolf. So, Chris Blessing, you missed on a little bit of backstory. There's a whole story about how our friend here, Red Riding Hood, was friends with the little boy, which I think you had seen, but then the grandmother got sick and Red Riding Hood impersonated the other boy because the other boy was like fell into a lake and was in the middle of drowning. It was a whole mess. Yes. I slipped in some mud and nearly lost my balance, but Red caught me before I fell. Sorry about that. Thanks for the help. He let go of my arm and walked ahead of me. Whoa, he got very serious all of a sudden. He didn't bother to turn back as he spoke. Normally I would be touched by his thoughtfulness, but his voice was cold and distant, like it was back when we first met. Okay. And so I slowly followed in his footsteps. How am I enjoying Rise Hunting Horn? Oh, I love it. The auto play of all the songs is amazing. It's so good. I hear everybody's big into the hunting horn now. It's nice. So yeah, I was playing a little bit earlier today on my own, doing some village quests. I think once I finish Taisho Alice this route, then I'll probably switch to streaming some Monster Hunter. I mean, not tonight, but in general. I'd like to stream some of that as well. So just trying to finish this one up first. How are you enjoying the game? How far are you? Is this the place? Eventually we arrived at a single cottage deep in the forest. Red stopped short, staring at the ground. I walked past him and right up to the front door. At my feet lay a single red flower, a carnation. It was bright and healthy looking, almost like it was fresh from the flower shop. I turned back to find Red still staring down at the ground. Dun dun dun. Whoa, checkmarked all quests, village, and hub. Goodness, so you have nothing else to do. Are you done? Just puttering around now. I guess there's gonna be an update in late April, so they'll add a new monster and some stuff then. Like, I think they were saying they're gonna remove or up the level cap, HR cap, something like that. I scooped up the carnation and knocked on the door. Is anyone home? But no matter how hard I knocked, no one answered. For a moment I thought perhaps we had the wrong place, but this was the only house in the vicinity. Hesitantly, I twisted the doorknob. Strangely enough, it was unlocked. Don't leave your house unlocked, folks. Especially when you live in the middle of the woods and nobody's around. You might think there's nobody, but it's not safe. The lights were all off, but the moonlight streaming in through the window faintly illuminated the interior. As I peered inside, out of nowhere, someone clapped a hand over my mouth. They wrapped their arms around me, pinning me in place. Oh yeah, helping people out is always good. Yeah, we should play together soon. I hope we can play. Do you like the rampages? I am kind of two minds about them. I don't know if I really love them, but I haven't done that many yet. Then, before I could even scream, they dragged me off somewhere. Ow, that hurts! Quit pulling so hard. Whoa. He shoved me from behind and I toppled to the ground like a sack of potatoes. Ow. With no time to brace myself, I hit the floor hard. I glared up at him. He didn't look very sorry at all. Oh, it's you. He leaned against the wall and returned my gaze with his almond-shaped eyes. Where did Red go? I thought Red was protecting her. What happened? Why are you doing this? A reminder, this is her brother? What is going on? Here in this forest cottage, my captor was none other than Mr. Huntsman. He reached into his pocket, took out a pack of cigarettes, and set one between his lips. No smoking.
こんな時でもうっせえな。
Oh, that's good. Maybe I'll just have to play more rampages and they'll grow on me too. Kind of a lot to like take in, they'll understand, but maybe once you get the hang of it, it makes a bit more sense and is more fun. Nope, not now, not ever. Even when I'm a hostage, I'm gonna boss you around and tell you not to smoke. With guys like these, you have to take a hard line approach. Holding the cigarette between his fingers, Mr. Huntsman let out a shallow sigh.
分かってるだろうが、くれぐれも外に出るんじゃないぞ。じゃあな。
And with that cold, unfeeling comment, he shut the door. Red. I sat down on my bed and tucked my knees under my chin. When Mr. Huntsman kidnapped me, Red didn't move an inch. I thought that too. Not that I blamed him. It was all really sudden and unexpected, so he probably wasn't sure how to react. He's a police officer, or a detective, or whatever. He's law enforcement. He should be able to handle an unexpected surprise. But for some reason, the memory of his pained expression made my chest ache. I hope he'll come to my rescue.
残念ながら彼は来ないよ。
Oh my god. Who's there?
彼は
Who's this?
さらわれてしまったという現実に耐えかねて
Hi.
道草してしまっ
I like the cat. Hold on, let's check this out. Oops. How do we remove that? Oh. I don't remember how to remove the thing. How do we toggle? Display controls. F1, quick save, open menu. How do we get rid of the text box? X on the lower right. Oh yeah, there we go. He looks like with the sash reminds me of like you know, Miss America or something where you get the sash. What is that? All right. Yeah, I like the cat. I love, as you know, if you've joined any of the Access streams where we were playing Code Realize, I love animals with outfits in Otome games. So this is like oh, what's his name? The little dog from Code Realize. He has the top hat and everything. It's very cute. That's...
た。あるはずないと言えるかい。彼は素直で騙されやすい。そんな彼の目の前で守るべき対象だった君がさらわれた。
What is going on? Who are you? What is happening?
自らの罪と向き合えず、
Hmm? What are you talking about, dude?
おかしくはない。そして今君も罪に
Yeah, the little crown. It's a pin, I guess.
そしてこの僕
What? Huh? Fairy takes... What? 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 Is that it? Is that a route? Wait, did I get a bad end? What happened? Oh my gosh. I can't even skip this. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I can skip it. Did I get a bad end? Well, let's look up a guide here. I'm gonna look up a guide on my phone and figure out what happened. I assume that's a bad ending since I wasn't following a guide. Ay, ay, ay. Yep, time to play Rise now. It's over. Corey got a bad ending there. Alright. So this is Taisho. This is one thing I'm not a huge fan of when it comes to like Otome games and visual novels. Like I just wrote my review of Dramatical Murder, which was really fun, but you need to play with a guide. I can't believe that anyone would play one of these games like over and over again, trying out all the different things, all the combinations. I mean, some of the newer Otome games make a little more sense. Like they will show you when your affection meter raises for someone, things like that. But this one has no indication, right? So you could do any combination of options. And yeah, I don't know how you could really play through it and find an ending. Okay, walk through. Yeah, Nitro Pastoral. So I've played Sweet Pool, Togai no Nachi, and now Dramatical Murder. I'm really enjoying them. I can't wait to play. I guess Lamento is the last of the old ones that Just Blue has to release. Okay, I found a guide. Hey, hopefully Bad Ending 1. Bad Ending 2, Bad Ending 3. I don't know which bad ending we got, but I think it was one of them. Oh, Lamento's your favorite. Okay, I'm extra excited for that now. Oh dear. Alright, folks, we're going to use a guide now. Let's see. Continue. Problem is, I didn't... Alright. We're gonna have to fast skip it. I do like the Cat Boys too. Cat and Demon Boys are fun. Okay, we're gonna have to start and just zoom through it because I didn't save before the options. Oh, luckily I can just pick who I want to do now. So let's I'll follow the guide, and can I quick skip? Oh yeah, love a quick skip. I'll follow the guide and create the save, so if we want to go back and see the other endings, we can. Will you go along with his suggestion? Yes. Apparently that's what I picked last time. So we can see what I picked that screwed me up. This is the one I took last time. I want to compliment his outfit. Doing good so far. What reason will you give him? It's more efficient. Wow. Where did I mess up? It's impolite. Yeah. Oh, it wants me to create a save file. Let's create a save file. Optimal. Save. Just plonk it here. Skip it. Oh. We screwed up when we invited him to bed. We're supposed to give him a blanket. Okay. Oh! I wanted to... I guess it doesn't change it much because it says previously read here. Alright. How do we get to the backlog? Nope. It's fine. I'm sure there wasn't much new dialogue. Okay, so we gave him a blanket. Actually, quite a lot of choices. Yeah, that's Wolf. I knew it. Are you trying to smash that? Yes, is the correct answer. Great. Well, this is a nice, very fast refresher of what happened through the game. I wonder if that means we're nearly at the end then, if I got a bad ending. Where do we take him next? Oh, you just have to do all of them. So that's fine. Boop, 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 boop. I always like watching the auto zoom. So what do we want to do? Remain calm and think of a solution. Okay. Oh, there we go. So when you click skip, if you haven't read the text before, it will automatically unskip, which is always good. Well, I guess there's no use crying over spilled milk. It won't magically fix anything. Let's figure out our next move. Oh, her family is absent. Right. Oh yeah, and then she tries to call everyone and no one answers. Okay. I'm really excited to see how Wolf factors into all of this. He's definitely my favorite character so far. What reason do you give him for visiting the lake? To get to know him better. Because I want to get to know you better, of course. I looked into his eyes as I spoke. Oh yeah, it all went downhill when we didn't give him a blanket and tried to invite him to bed. Okay, so as you can see, previously read. That's really nice. I feel like sometimes the text will like appear a different color. Always helpful. So I think, yep, we want to add another save file here since I'm following the guide. Now Oh, gosh. There's a fair bit more to get to. Sorry, folks. Gives us more time to chat. Yeah, it looks like we probably only had like one or two, you know, choices left before the end of the route. So I guess we're getting pretty far. His face is flushed because he's uncomfortable with women. We got that one right. A lot of this music. Yes, I want to do the most I can. No! No! I don't like that one. Is it worth sacrificing your health to make lunch for everyone? No, it is not. Stupid game. I just want to do the most I can, that's all. Yeah. For once he makes sense. Oh, so we didn't even get this option last time. Me. Apparently. Truthfully, I'm probably just doing it for my own sake. I want to feel needed, you know? I want everyone to praise me and tell me I'm an angel. Oh, that's... she's being honest. Not to make excuses or anything, but I get the feeling this world is full of people who feel the same way. What about you, Red? Skip. Okay, cuddle time is not the right answer. Unfortunately, we want to wake him up naturally. I decided to stop fighting it. He looks so peaceful right now. I'd hate to ruin it for him. That was then I realized my palms had gotten all sweaty. I sure hope I don't stink. I don't think you're gonna stink from having sweaty palms, Eureka. I tried to sift myself, but I couldn't really smell anything. As he held me in his arms, I gazed up at his handsome face. We had only just met a few days ago, but after everything that had happened, suddenly it felt like I'd known him all my life. Wow. On the outside, he maintained a stoic facade, but on the inside, he was shy and easily flustered. I giggled to myself. Thinking back, I would have never imagined the real him was so drastically different from his outward persona. I reached up and stroked his head through the fabric of his hood. Were he conscious, he would surely protest, but right now is a different story. In fact, I felt him hug me tighter, almost as though he were preventing my escape. Red? Hee hee. Okay. Nope. Consent. Don't know her. Oh, karate chopping isn't the way either. We calm him down. Okay. Will you hold him accountable? Yes. I could keep an eye on this because I could lose my place. And I guess it's like yes, no, yes in a row. Next one, we're saying no. Getting there, getting there. Oh my gosh, so much is happening. Do you disagree with his assessment? No. Next answer, we're saying yes. Now that you know Red, oh, autosave successful. Whoa. Whoa, we didn't have this option last time because we didn't do the right things. So now that we know that Red enjoys your company, will you confess? Do not confess. Wait, yes, we do confess. The last one was no, now we say yes. Red, there's something I want to say. Oh my gosh, we're really doing it? I really like you. Both as a friend and as a romantic prospect. Who says that? I like you as a romantic prospect. You say with the evaluation that we had the right answers and the good ending is not to win this hassle. Yeah, I still am not won over by his charms or lack thereof. Did you not hear what I said? Okay, here it is again. I really like you, Red. Oh, you're bleeding. I used a fresh handkerchief to sop up the blood from another one of his chronic nosebleeds. Red? I peered into his eyes. Normally, this is the part where he screamed and or shoved me away, but this time he froze in place like a statue. Hello? I waved my hand in front of his face. No dice. Is your fever flaring up again? I put my hand to his forehead. He didn't even flinch. Admittedly, his forehead did feel warm, but as did the rest of his face, which was currently tomato red. Just then... Ah! As I pressed my hand against him, he roughly seized me by the wrist. He glared at me, his cheeks flushed crimson. Oh my goodness.
Miss Alice.
Yes? I shrank back, but he refused to relinquish his grip on my wrist. Instead, he leaned in. Is he okay? Red? Right as the tip of his nose brushed mine. Looks like he... Did he just throw up on me? A torrent of blood spewed forth and he collapsed into my chest. Very romantic. So, since we got all of those other scenes, now we're seeing a new scene. Unrelated to, like, I didn't have to choose anything to get here. He sprang back and tumbled off the sofa. Are you okay? Well, she did confess to him, so... Okay. Just a little bit of flourish there, I guess. After a moment of silence, I looked into his eyes and said, "What if I asked you to stay?" I really so mature. What a mature detective policeman officer thing. Every time I attempted to profess my feelings for him, he interrupted me with the force of 1,000 suns. Good grief, how shy can one guy be? Not that I don't love that about him, of course. We don't, I think it's safe to say. What were you going to say? I casually changed the subject. You got me there. That's it? Okay, one extra line. What will you add to the cake? Blueberries is correct. What will you use for grape-like things? Actual grapes. That's a bit odd, but sure. In response to his blatant deceit, you tickle him. Correct answer. Okay, we need to create a save file. Oh no. Can I save? Yes. Good. Okay, seeing that Red thinks he's a bad person, how will you respond? Tell him I forgive him. The correct answer. Well then, I forgive you. Yeah, so what if you're a bad person? I can forgive you for that. They say no crime goes unpunished, but for me, no sin is unforgivable. Haha! I bet I must sound like Mother Teresa or something, huh? She's so full of herself, I love it. Regardless, I'll still forgive you, no matter what anyone says, even you. You don't need to beat yourself up over it. And his eyes widened slightly. He looked to be on the verge of tears, so I gently stroked his head. Alright, I'm gonna skip ahead now. We're getting there. Skip! Only one more option? Interesting. Okay. Yeah, we must have really been close to the end then. Alright, I didn't visit grandmother's house again until, well, after the hospital incident had passed. Oh, so we get to actually know what happens in this version. That's nice. That's nice that they tell us. One day, I found myself standing right outside. Instantly, my face stiffened. Why did I come here? Didn't I promise myself I wouldn't do this anymore? I cursed myself 1,000 times. Suddenly, I felt the contents of my stomach rush up my throat, and I vomited there on the spot. Oh my god. That's hardcore. The pain made tears prick at the corners of my eyes, but no one was there to help me. No surprise there, of course. This was my punishment. Sorry, I was sipping my tea there. Yeah, we need a cleanup crew here for this. I collapsed to my knees and gasped for breath as I stared at the house. On first glance, it seemed much the same as always, but upon further inspection, I realized it had lost its lived-in feel. Somehow, even a total idiot like myself was still smart enough to understand what that meant. Grandmother was gone. I think this is so weird that they don't tell you what happened in the other route. It just cuts off. But if you answer things correctly, then you can understand the context. And so was my friend. So they're both gone. He's laughing maniacally now. It was then that I understood. The real punishment was the searing pain I felt in my chest at that moment, and I needed to accept it. Is it searing pain, or is it your vomit issues? Indigestion. Which is why I returned there again. Well, now we know what really happened. Until then, I had been avoiding the lake and the forest, but after that day, I started making an active effort to visit that house. With each visit, I remembered all the fine times we had, and my heart threatened to burst. At some point, I developed a tradition of placing a single red carnation at the front door each time. Now we know. It was a symbol of my crime, as well as a token of my apologies. A year passed, then 2, then 3. As it turns out, time is a scary thing. Very true. You see, the more time passed, the more I felt my memories fade. Then a few more years passed, and I finally spotted that hard-eyed man again, Ryoshi, the hunter. Ow, that hurts! Quit yanking so hard. Okay, we're back. We've made it back. I love the sack of potatoes line. With no time to brace myself, I hit the floor hard. We've already read this, so I'll go through it a bit quickly. Yeah. Why are you doing this? We don't know yet. Yep, captors Mr. Huntsman. He got his cigarettes. No smoking. I'm still in charge here. I mean, you're the one that's like holding her hostage. I think you can do whatever you want, dude. The hardline approach. He is? Oh, he was looking for me before. Now we're gonna see Weird Wizard Man. And with that cold, unfeeling comment, he shut the door. Now that I was alone. Oh! I think... I mean, who's gonna listen to this guy, right? I've checked the guide, so I know what the correct answer is, so we can get the good ending, and leave is the correct answer, which is what I would have done anyway, because screw him. Slowly, quietly, I reach for the doorknob. Whoa! Wait, we don't even meet the wizard man? The door opened so suddenly that I fell back onto the floor. Hee hee. I tried to play innocent, but it was clear that he had seen right through my little act. He fixed me with a cold stare that clearly conveyed how much of an idiot he thought I was. Then I noticed he had dragged someone else in with him. What? What? This little punk? It's our other punk-ass friend. The other guy had blonde hair and blue eyes.
ま、話し相手くらいにはなってくれるだろうさ。
Flung into the room like meat to the dogs, the blonde guy promptly face planted on the floor.
あの冷徹冷血冷然やにくそ男。
He always has a lot of snide comments anyway. Are you okay? At this, the guy got up to his feet, clutched his swollen nose, and whirled to face me. Yep, a lot of emotionally stunted boys in this game, hey. I mean, he's definitely takes the cake for sure.
大丈夫なわけないだろ。君は現状把握もできないのか。
Like literally just running into him. Oh, giving me a headache, this guy. Looks like you don't have a nosebleed. That's a relief.
話なんて僕みたいな儚げな美少年が出すわけないだろ。出すとしたら思春期のガキかむっつりスケベか逆キャラと相場が決まっ
Just then, a stream of red descended from the fragile beauty's nostril. That sound effect was pretty good though. Alright, settle down. Come sit over here. As he squealed unintelligibly, I took him by the arm and sat him down. Inhuman anime boy sounds. Yeah, that's what they should have subtitled it. I grabbed the box of tissues off the shelf and pressed one to his nose. Just sit tight until it stops, okay?
これくらいのことで僕に恩を売った気か。残念だったな。僕はそう簡単に君の策略に乗る気はない。なぜなら、そもそも恩を売らせない、借りを作らせないのだからな。どうもありがとうございました。ほら、これでチャラだ。
He may have talked a big game, but none of it was very intimidating with a tissue up his nose. You're welcome. I giggled and sat down next to him. So, what's your name?
どうして君に名乗る必要がある？
Ah, yes.
君の方から名乗れ無礼者とかいうどうでもいいやり取りをする気もないということ。
Okay. Okay then, can I call you A?
はあ、いいわけあるか。僕の名前がわからないからといって適当に名付けようとするな。何のために
Why do
二
you
人称
think
が
they
存在している
invented
と思っている？
second person
名
pronouns?
前がわからずとも、とりあえずあなたとかあなた様とか話を合わせることができるの。とか、あながち遠くない呼び名だからこそ微妙に腹。
Oh really? So does your name start with A?
これ以上君とくだらないクイズをする気は毛頭ないのでさっさと正解を教
The
えてやる。
Great Lord
僕
Alice.
の名前はアリス様だ。
Alice, what a coincidence. My name is actually really similar. It's...
別に言わずとも知っている。アリスだ。
Why are we being called Eureka then? Seikai! I shot him the finger guns. There it is, the finger guns. But how did you know? Why is this Eureka? I don't understand. It's confusing.
今までのことをその足りない頭で振り返ってみろ。
Oh, story within a story situation.
僕は
It's getting meta. Alice promptly flung himself down and pulled the blanket over his head. Hey, wait, I thought you were supposed to keep me company. I shook him by the shoulder. Lord Alice! A damsel in distress? He looked at me like I was pawn scum.
君が囚われのお姫様だというなら、縄にでも縛られてた方が良かったな。全国のド M な乙女が狂気乱舞する展開だ。
I'm tired of this good night. So, yes, it's a very accurate way of describing this game experience. But I'm not a masochist.
君はド S だよ。だいたい君が囚われのヒロインだというのなら、ヒロインらしい自覚を。姫がか弱いから、何らかの特別な力を持っているから。
Oh my god.
違うな。
Well,
さらわれたものを救い出すという
fair. They exist to enable the male character to be the hero. True that. He was completely right. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten my role in this. I got up and opened the window. A frigid breeze blew in. Pressing my windblown hair down, I responded to his wordless gaze. I just can't help but worry that he's out there, hurt and suffering, all for my sake. To me, it doesn't matter how cliche it may be. Yeah.
君の悲劇のヒロインぶった気持ちの悪い干渉はどうでもいいので寒いから窓を閉めろ早急にだ
Fine. So much for our dramatic conversation. Oh, alternate view. She's not here. She's not here. She's not here. She's not here. She's not anywhere. Yeah, you were just with her and you didn't protect her properly. It's not like she, you know, went somewhere completely different. She was all I could think of as I ran through the town. When did he have time to wander off? Wasn't he like right behind her when they opened the door to that house? I don't understand what's going on. From then on, I pledged to live my life alone, unless this is some other thing. Tried my best not to interact or involve myself with others. I lived hidden away from the public eye. I had no human connections, no friends, no lovers, nowhere to belong. No one knew I existed. No one cared. The truth is, he was never a policeman. I think that's pretty obvious. That's the way it was the year before last. That's the way it was last year. And that's the way it is now. I didn't feel sad about it. To me, it was the status quo. Until I met these nice people, this was just life. I had nearly returned to how things always were. But then one person came along and changed everything. They lived together with me, touched me, spoke to me. To me, these things were completely unfathomable and unorthodox. I admit, we wouldn't have lived together if it weren't for the choices I made. Uh-huh. If it was only temporary. Oh, thanks so much for stopping by, Curse Blessing. Hope you have a good day. See you soon. I wasn't straying from the path. I was using her for my own purposes. To carry out my own little revenge story. I spotted Ryoshi entirely by chance. He seemed to be having a fun conversation with a girl I didn't know. 5 years had passed since then, and we'd both grown up, but I knew at once that he was the same guy from back then. The instant I looked at him, I felt my frozen heart start to thaw. Then all of those memories I had never bothered to remember came flooding back. And with it came a new emotion I hadn't felt then. Resentment. I couldn't help but blame the entire grandmother incident on the fact that he had mistaken me for Wolf in the first place. Oh, he was the guy that ran up to them when they were at the lake? Interesting. I was like, why is the resentment aimed at him? Yes, I knew this resentment was misplaced. I knew it wasn't his fault. I knew I really ought to blame, but I didn't have any other way to vent this frustration. Toxic masculinity strikes again, eh? Like a river, time drifted on, and after months of agonizing over it, I eventually decided to go talk to Ryoshi for myself. This is a lot of walking he's doing. I didn't expect it to solve anything, of course. I was just hoping that it would help me sort out my feelings. But over those few months, Ryoshi had disappeared without a trace, leaving me unable to track him down. All I knew was that he had a younger sister who lived alone in a large mansion. The perfect situation. And she was the very girl I had seen him talking to. And that's when I formulated a plan. I would anonymously harass her in order to lure her brother out of hiding. Except for it didn't work because her brother is like an unfeeling asshole. Oh my god. I thought surely he would have no choice but to take action if one of his family members were in danger. So I tailed her, sent threatening messages to her house, then watched her for her reaction. This is awful. Although she was really Ryoshi, I never found any resentment toward her. I may have wanted to frighten her, but I never intended to harm her. Is this just an excuse to feel better about myself? Perhaps. But the point remains, I never wished to do her any harm. Unfortunately, though his sister was in peril, Ryoshi never showed his face. Exasperated, I donned a policeman's garb in order to infiltrate the Arisu house myself. Oh, Lord. Why a policeman? I couldn't tell you. Maybe I was attached to the idea of a hero who could fight evildoers and protect the weak. Meanwhile, she accepted me and my deception all too easily. Strange, all at once, the girl I had watched from afar was now right in front of me. I tried everything I could to scare her enough to get her to call her brother over, but it all backfired spectacularly. She seemed to feel safe with me around. Yeah, because you said you were a policeman. She believed me when I said I would protect her, and over time, I realized she was just as isolated as I was. Her family had left her all alone in a giant house in order to pursue their own ambitions. At first glance, she didn't seem that devastated about it, but I knew all too well how she must have felt deep down. I cannot believe this. I miss you. I mean, I can, but over time, I grew to care for her more and more. She was like the sun, bright, warm, and lit up the room wherever she went. She was different from grandmother, different from my friend. I'm really glad they changed the walking sound because it was getting annoying. Above his surface veneer of being a weird joke was hiding the fact that he's even a weirder joke. He's like a step above how weird and awful he was before, or a step worse. And different from my mother, too. She smiled at me. She cooked for me. Yeah, that's because she didn't know that you were harassing her. She touched me. She consoled me. She claimed to love me. In just a few short days, she gave me so much. I didn't expect him to be the one harassing her, I guess. I don't know what I thought. It's a lot. As I spent more and more time with her, it became harder and harder to breathe, like my chest was in a vise. Felt like I was drowning. There I was, flailing my limbs, desperate to reach the surface. Then she came along and pulled me up. All along, I had known the significance of this agony. I need you. A long time ago, I disobeyed my mother and ventured outside. If only I had obeyed her and kept myself cooped up in that dark house, I would have never made that discovery.
いいこと？あなたは他の子と違ってとってもいい子なの。だからお外で遊んではダメ。周りのみんなは
This doesn't make any sense.
狼。
I'm sorry, Mother. The truth is, I always yearned to explore the outside world. The temptation of the sunshine led me astray. That darn sunshine. And then I learned the truth. They weren't wolves at all. No, I was the wolf. And now, just as I yearned for the sunshine then, now I long to be by her side. But she was taken from me, and I was powerless to stop it. At the time, I was frozen in place, my knees quaking in fear. Some sorry excuse for a man I turned out to be. But I can't change who I am. I'm a stupid weakling who dares not trespass into another person's space. I'm no policeman. Alone, I whispered her name.
ゆりかさん、ゆりかさん、ゆりかさん。
Yeah, you really fucked up, dude. No matter how many times I called for her, she never responded. No surprise there, of course. Not like she was around to hear it. I knew all along. I knew the second Blackmore wonder was intended for her, not for her, but for me. Once I infiltrated her house as a policeman, my plan was to end the targeted harassment. But then a mysterious third party took up the reins in my stead. Their threats were steadily escalating. At first I wasn't sure what to do, but eventually I decided I wanted to rescue her from all the fear and uncertainty and loneliness. What an arrogant concept. I don't know what sort of person the wolf truly is. She told me she couldn't think of anything she'd done to court someone's wrath. That was only natural, of course, because she was entirely innocent. If anything, I was the criminal who deserved punishment. I think, yes, definitely, you are a criminal who deserves punishment from the law for harassment and impersonating an officer, among other things. Now that punishment had been dealt in the form of her absence. Oh, no. I mean, no crime goes unpunished, and I have committed an unforgivable crime. Thus, I deserve retribution. However, I cannot simply abide her taking the brunt of it in my place. So I searched for every place I could think of. I had no leads to go off of, so my only hope was to grasp at straws. I'm still really confused because he literally walked up to this house with her. She opened the door of the house and someone pulled her into the house. It's not like, whoa, where'd she go? She's gone now. She could be anywhere. Maybe check the house. I don't know. Alice is literally everywhere. So all the townspeople are Alice.
彼女のことが聞きたいということを知っている。
知っているさ。なんでも
なら教えてくれ。彼女は
知ってどうする。
どうするってそれ。
腹を減らした悪い狼から彼女を救い出そう。
そ。
赤ずきん、確かに君は愚かで騙されやすい。だがしかし、狼が何？罪には罰。彼女を食べようとした悪い狼は腹を切り裂かれ、中には石ころを詰められ、最後には溺れてしまうだろう。それでも構わない。
それが狼の末路なら仕方のないことだ。それよりも彼女は今真っ暗な世界に閉じ込められて怖い思いをしている。
それは漁師の役目では？君は漁師と違い、何の武器も持たない無力な存在だ。
He's a wolf. He could handle it.
ただ
Just chomp him.
騙されてもいい。私は彼女の喜ぶ姿を見たいだ。
君は本当に愚かだな。いや、正しくは愚直と言うべきか。もっと気を使った言い方をしてやるなら、素直というか無垢というか純粋。まあ、考えることを放棄したバカには違いない。
I thought was buffoon.
騙されるということは相手を信じているからだ。おそらくそれが君の武器でもあると同時にくさびでもあるのだ。罪には罰を。果たして本当にそうなのか。
罪には。
That's what they say.
彼女は今湖にいる。
No,
彼女
she's
は
at the
お前を
lake
とても
now.
可愛が
Okay.
ってくれたのだから救い出してやる。
ああ。
赤ずきん、今度こそ道草するなよ。
There I was, standing on the lake pier. My hands were to hide behind my back, and my captor's arm was around my neck, preventing my escape. Fortunately, he wasn't crushing my windpipe, so I could still breathe just fine. Who is my captor, you ask? None other than our very own wolf. He stared straight ahead, his lips pursed together, unsmiling. It was so unlike his usual demeanor that I could scarcely speak. Red would be here any minute now. And when he arrived, the big bad wolf was going to gobble him right up. Poor gullible Red Riding Hood. Please, won't someone save him from the darkness? He doesn't... Stop worrying about him. He's a jerk. Sure enough, he turned up, his face ashen. He must have run around searching the whole town. He was gasping for breath with a pained expression on his face. Red! I shouted in my most anguished voice, almost like I was a princess in a tower. Whoa! Alright. His tone was menacing as he pressed a dagger to my cheek. Ugh. Reflexively, I jerked away, causing his arm to clamp down tighter on my neck, and I began to struggle. It's hard to take him seriously with this little wolf hood on. Yeah, wolf. Who would have seen it coming? I think it's funny that the whole wizard man is just completely gone. He picked the right things. Ah ha ha, take off that red hood of yours. Let us see it. Let us see your head. then, hand shaking, he slowly but surely lowered his hood. Yeah, there it is. Atop his head sat a distinctive pair of ears. Those ears! He's the real wolf. He hung his head, unwilling to meet my gaze. At this, he looked up again.
それがお前の本性なんだよ。お前は狼なんだ。
そうです。私の本当の姿。
I'm not even a police officer, I'm just a wolf.
悪い狼なんです。
His voice shook as he confessed the truth.
お前は狼だ。なら。
I mean, they certainly made it confusing. You're a wolf. No, he's a wolf. He's actually named Wolf, but he's a wolf. Red collapsed to his knees and prostrated himself.
謝る。私が謝るから、彼女のことは許してください。全部私が悪かったんです。お願いです。どうか許してください。
His voice cracked with fear. Nevertheless, he screamed and begged, pleading for my sake. Red. It's so extra. The whole thing is just really silly. That's for sure. I felt sorry for him.
なあ、赤ずきん。俺が誰かわかるか？
誰か。
俺はお前を知っている。なら、お前も俺を知ってるはずだろう。
それは。
わからないのかよ。あっちゃん。俺のふりをして、ばあちゃんに会いに行っただろう。
Aha! The glasses hid his identity all along. Using the hand currently holding the dagger, Wolf reached up and pulled off his trademark black-rimmed glasses. After a long, long silence, Red whispered, I mean, his name's Wolf! But did he never meet him? I thought he did meet him at school.
ああ、そうだよ。狼だ。
His name actually is Wolf in Japanese too. It's Okami. It's like purposely being really convoluted. Red's complexion turned snow white. No, that's a different fairy tale. Wrong fairy tale.
ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい。
ごめんなさいじゃねえよ。今の今まで俺の正体に気づかなかったくせに。
それは。
俺のこと忘れてたか。
そんなことは。ありません。ずっとあなたのことは。一度も忘れたことはありません。
そうだよな。俺ももちろん。あ、ひどい話だよな。俺はずっとお前のこと友達だと思ってた。
I mean, yeah, it was pretty bad.
お前は俺を裏切った。
You could have just said, no, that's it. That's Wolf. The one drowning.
大好きなばあちゃんの見舞いに行って、ちゃっかり俺のふりしてるんだもん。お前のせいで。あの後どうなったと思ってんだ。んな顔して。何震えてんだよ。
わかってます。
わかってねえよ。全然わかってねえ。俺はさ、ずっとお前のこと探してた。
Alright, let's hear it.
なんだかわかるか。わかんねえよな。
How this will call? Yeah, I don't know how this will end. Do you think anyone will actually die? Do you think they're gonna be a fight?
俺はそんなお前に声をかけてやったよな。俺たちはよくいたずらして、ばあちゃんに怒られたっけな。ばあちゃんは怖かったけど、優しくて。
はい。
お前、今もそれかぶってんのか。ばあちゃん、分かってたんだよな。お前がずっとその頭気にしてるなの。お前はばあちゃん。
And not yet, Wolf is actually like impersonating an actual wolf by wearing a hood with ears on it, even though he hates Red so much.
なんでお前はあの時、私は狼。
ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。
またそれか。いいか。
だったら。
Yeah.
どうすれば。
mean,
だからさっきか
分かってるね。おてか何キレてんだ。
いい加減彼女を離せ。
ああ、そうかもな。てか、お前本当に彼女のこと好きなの？なあ、その好きってどうなの？
え？
それじゃあ、ばあちゃんの時と一緒じゃねえか。
ouch.
本当は自分に
But kind of
優しく
true. I
して
mean,
く
they
れる
only
や
know
つ
each
な
other
ら
for
誰で
what,
も
2 days,
優しく
3
された
days?
ことがないから、優しくしてくれるやつに懐いてるだけだ。
Replacement
お前は自分の捨て
goldfish.
た母ちゃんの幻想を俺の
It just screams. I don't know what else to say. I'm just gonna scream. He let out an almost wolfish howl. As his scream rent the air, I grew worried that he might be breaking.
彼女をここで失っても大丈夫だよな。だって彼女
You
が
took
い
my
なくなっても
grandma, so I'm
なお
taking this girl. He screamed at the top of his lungs. He was consciously denying Wolf's claim of his own volition.
そうじゃない。確かに私はこんな私に優しくしてくれる人が好きです。でも彼女の代わりは誰もいません。狼のあなたのおばあさんには申し訳ないことをしたと思ってます。私はあなたが羨ましかった。
だから奪おうと思ったのか。
違うんだ。本当に
He never intended to deceive anyone. He doesn't do that a lot, though.
結果的にお前はあの日嘘をついた。
はい、その通りです。私はあなたのふりをあの日駆けつけた漁師からおばあさんが倒れた。あの優しかったおばあさんが元気だと思っていたおばあさんがどうしてだ。それで漁師に手をつかまれ
Yep, that's basically what happened.
私はおばあさんは私は漁師が
そうだな。そして
違います。
No, that's exactly what you
何
did.
が違うんだよ。でなきゃ脅迫状な。
それはその通りです。
Some guys are a little bit awkward and others impersonate police because of their grandma guilt complexes. So true.
悪いのは私です。で
Love
も
the grandma guilt
あくまでも
complex
嘘を
here.
ついた動機はきっかけは
Forced by Yoshi to lie.
私は思い
Yeah.
本当にすみませんでした。
His voice was watery. He bowed until his forehead pressed against the ground.
あの時お前
I mean, Grandma probably would have still died anyway. Wolf sounded sad, disappointed perhaps. Then he slowly moved the dagger.
罪には罰をお前に与える罰
やめろ彼女返せ。
Red lunged forward, screaming, desperate to get the dagger away from me.
ちょっと
Ah! As Wolf stepped back, his foot slipped. That was good. Then that was the last sound he made before the two of us plunged into the lake. The next thing I knew, we were drowning in the watery abyss. The leak was much deeper than I realized, and we were sinking to the bottom. More specifically, Wolf still had his arm around me, inadvertently dragging me down as he struggled and panicked. As I choked, air escaped my lips in big bubbles that rose to the surface. All I could see was blue, and the deeper we sank, the darker it became. I couldn't breathe. I flailed my limbs desperately, but to no avail. My leaden body refused to cooperate, and the light was growing ever more distant. Someone, please, help us! I reached out my hand, and Red Riding Hood pulled us up. When I was back on dry land, I coughed up the water lodged in my windpipe. I could finally breathe again, but not without intense chest pain that brought tears to my eyes. Ah, ah. That's how she's dying, right? Whoa! Red threw his arms around me.
よかった。
Red, there in his arms, the pain seemed to melt away. This time it was not my lungs, but my eyes that burned like they were on fire. You saved us. Thank you. He pulled away from me slightly and gazed at me. His eyes seemed damp with emotion. Or lake water, I suppose. It's either emotion or lake water.
ごめんなさい。ゆりかさん。私はずっとあなたに嘘をついていました。
Ay, ay, ay.
あなたを守る警察官などではありませ
Okay,
ん。
what's she gonna say to that?
私の本当の正体は、私はあなたを騙していたんです。
What about the part where you were also threatening her? He squeezed his eyes shut. Tears trickled out between his lashes and rolled down his cheeks. I quietly wiped them away. Honestly, I'm the one who should apologize.
ゆりかさん。
I knew you were deceiving me, and I was deceiving you right back.
私を騙す
We were? Yeah. All of the harassment that took place after you came to my house, all of it was completely staged. Huh? I'm so sorry! I hung my head in shame. Wolf and Ryoshi told me all about you. What? 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 Wait! You can't do that, game. You can't... This... Can you do that? Oh, hey, they told me all about you, even though we're playing as her and we've never heard that. What? I don't like that. We've just been blindsided by this game. After everything I heard, I decided I would take part in their scheme. Not only did I hide it all from you, I took advantage of your kindness, and I can see how much our little stunt has hurt you. I'm really sorry, Red. At this sudden confession, Red fell quiet. I had braced myself for this, of course, but it didn't make the silence any less uncomfortable. But she was actually harassed the first time, and then Ryoshi and Wolf, was it Wolf, told her, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna go along with this. That's messed up. It's messed up that we as the player playing as her don't know about any of this. Huh? I might have really hurt him. Yeah, you too. You're both screwed up. I thought it was like a knife in my
これま
chest.
たえらい目にあったな。
Yeah, this is a mess. Just then, I heard a familiar deep voice from somewhere above me. I looked up to find Mr. Huntsman, I mean Ryoshi, my brother, standing over us with a lollipop in his mouth.
よ、久しぶりだな。元気だったか？
お前は
Red pulled me close while glaring daggers up at my brother. No surprise there, I guessed. After all, Ryoshi was the true mastermind behind this plot. Wolf looked at us reproachfully as he staggered to his feet. Up his giant paw. Mitten?
風邪ひいちゃったかも。っていうか、突然襲いかかるなよ。
He sniffed.
でだ、赤ずきんと狼と漁師と役者が揃ったところで、
Alright. We exchanged looks. Meanwhile, Red was struggling to process this. The dramatic tension had evaporated, leaving him blinking, baffled. I pulled away from him slightly to lead things off. First off, let's all introduce ourselves. I'm Yurika Arisu. Next.
アリス漁師。お前も知っての通り、アリスゆりかの兄で漁師をしている。
Okay.
で、最後に真打ち登場。俺様の出番っすね。俺は狼。
What is this?
男女の仲を超えたソウルメイトで。
I don't know how I expected this to end, but I didn't expect all of this.
おい、まずそこに食いつくんかい。てか、友達以外に俺たちの関係を表す。
お前は私を恨んでるんじゃ。
誰が恨んでるって言ったよ。
What?
勝手に勘違い
I was
してん
only
じゃね
just
えよ
trying to knife your crush. I, I shook my head. Honestly, I can't really blame him. After the blackmail letter and that little tirade of yours, anyone would think you hated them.
マジっすか
Dead serious, my dude. I nodded at Wolf winced apologetically. Oh, I may have overdone it with the knife and everything.
感情的になっちまったって
お知り合い
I guess, yeah, he didn't meet Wolf at school.
アリスちゃんとは友達だって
もしかしてゆりかさんが言っていた男の友人というのは
Yeah. Yep, that was Wolf.
もし
Well,
もーし
everybody's horrible is the moral of the story. Red seemed to have mentally shut down. Wolf waved his hand in front of his face.
彼女を脅していたナイフは
なあこれおもちゃだよおもちゃ
Why would you do this? Who would do this? Oh, haha, it's just a prop knife. I was just pretending to get ready to knife her. The whole story was a prank to teach Red the true meaning of friendship, I guess? Apparently? The deceiver has become deceived? Wolf pressed the tip of the dagger against his palm and the entire blade retracted into the handle.
もしかして屋敷を荒らしたりしたの
あ俺俺
He raised his hand enthusiastically.
さすがにちょいやりすぎかなとは思ったんだけど漁師さんがさ
やるなら徹底的にやらねえと真実味がないだろ
I still think you went overboard, personally. I'm guessing you want to know why you were deceived, huh? Long story short, we wanted you to understand. It was like a moral lesson. See, there you go. It was a moral lesson. The meaning of friendship. We wanted to show you that you're not alone. We wanted you to realize that.
孤独じゃない
Ryoshi and Wolf told me basically the whole story. They were both worried about you. See, you're convinced that you're all alone and that you have to be. To you, anything else would be a sin, because this is your self-enforced punishment for the crime you committed. But the truth is, you hate it more than anything. You always hated being alone. But your integrity kept you from acknowledging that fact. You stubbornly refused to accept it. Then, as the years went by, your loneliness became the status quo. But too much solitude would turn your heart to ice, so we felt that we had to save you before you froze over completely. And then I got that blackmail letter from you, so the three of us talked about it and we decided to use the opportunity to our advantage. That said, not everything went exactly according to plan. I gave a self-deprecating laugh.
っていうか
It's a lot.
あっちゃん
This is a lot.
なんで俺のこと見てすぐに気づかねえんだよ完全に俺のことはせっかく狼
I always start acknowledging it. I mean, my name is Wolf.
出したってのに
忘れてない忘れてないけど
It's those dang glasses.
な今笑ったっすね
うるせえ無駄口叩いてねえで
At last, Yoshi broke the silence in order to land a kick on Wolf.
あひどいっすよ
Yoshi jerked his chin in a gesture of, shut up and explain your side of things.
俺さずっとお前のことが気がかりだったお前が俺のふりしてばあちゃんの見舞いに行ったあの日からで俺もすぐに手術のために引っ越すことになってお前と会うこともなくてでも俺さ無事に手術も成功して
He can run super fast now.
思いっきり走れる
The
ように
silver
なった
lining of this story.
昔とは違うんだもう無理だとかしちゃダメだとか言われないし言わせねえそんな俺がなんでこんなクソ田舎に
His back was product toad. Oh my god. That's
全
the
部お
best.
前のためなんだよ赤ずきん
Wolf pointed squarely in Red's face.
そうだよでようやくお前を見つけて喜んで話しかけたってのにスルーだぜスルー
いつのことだ
俺がこの町にやってきてすぐのことだよ
You You ignored me. That's why I'm doing all this.
仕方ないだろ。
そりゃそうだけどさ、俺は分かったんだし、白状じゃね？まあでも、
I mean, that is pretty
その後
rude.
たまたま漁師さんとも再会してな。あの後、お前、ずーっと一人でいたんだってな。まさか、あの時のことずっと気にしてるなんて思わなかったよ。
I mean, I feel like that's pretty rough. Impersonating your friend while the friend's grandmother is dying and the friend could be drowning in a lake. One could be hung up
そ
on
んな言い
that.
方しなくたっていいだろ。
いや、俺にはお前にいろいろ言う権利があるね。なんたって、
See?
お前は俺を
He left me to drown. He ran off to visit grandma and pretended to be me.
俺があの後どれだけお前を探したと思ってんだ。俺はお前に言いたいこといっぱいあったんだよ。なのに逃げやがって。俺はな、お前が俺を置いて、俺のふりしてばあちゃんに会いに行
He's
った
mad at
と
him
思ってん
ghosting
じゃな
him.
くて、
That's it.
その後俺の前から、
ごめん。
もういいよ。数年越しになっちまったけど、こうしてまた話せた。
Oh, happy ending.
俺さ、
Nobody's gonna get murdered,
ち
I
ゃんと
guess.
ばあちゃんの見舞いに行ったよ。溺れたのを助けてもらった後、漁師さんに病院に連れて行ってもらって、ばあちゃん元気だったよ。悪い病気にかかって大変そうだったけど、そんで俺ちゃんといつもわがままばっか言って、ばあちゃんはこんな俺のこといいよって笑って
そうか。
さ、友達を大事にしなさい。
え？
あの子はとても素直で真面目ないい子だよ。でもね、だからこそあの子は一人で
Ah, so touching.
俺が強くなって、あの子綺麗なお花ありがとう。
Oh.
その声は狼ちゃんかい？
ああ、そうだぜ。ばあちゃんの孫の狼だよ。ばあちゃん、ごめんごめん。俺わがままばっか言って。
いいんだよ。おばあちゃんは狼ちゃんが元気でいてさ、狼ちゃんがお父さんとお母さんと離れてとっても寂しいこと、おばあちゃん何もしてやれなくて。
そんなことねえよ。確かに俺こっちに一人で来て初めの頃は友達もいない。いつもそばにはばあちゃんがいてくれたし、それに親友もできた。二人とも俺の大事な宝物。
そうかい。よかったよ。おばあちゃんもね、二人が仲良くしてるのを見てるのが。
なんてそんな言い方するんだよ。もっと一緒にいてよ。でないと。
そんなことない。
Yeah, got Little Red Riding Hood.
いるけど、でもその花、
綺麗だろ。あの子が持って赤ずきんちゃん。あの子、狼ちゃんに赤ずきんちゃんみたいなお友達ができて、でもね、だからこそあの子は一人で抱え込んだから、狼ちゃんが強くなって、狼ちゃんはあの子がいて助けられたんだ。
俺
狼、
当たり前じゃん。だって
おばあさんは私が嘘をついていたことに。
お前な、マジで全部お見
It's
通しなんだ
so
よ。
messed up. It's like, oh, he's deceiving everyone. They're deceiving him. Everyone's deceiving everyone, but it's okay. Trying to teach you a
甘く見す
lesson.
ぎなんだよ。お前の周りにいる奴らはな、これを含めて
Also, it's been years. It's been years since that happened.
お前は一人。俺だってな、ガキの頃体が弱くて西洋のためだからって周りに誰も知り合いはいねえし、学校も 満足にいけねえし、お前が湖で一人でいるのを見て、ああ、こいつもしかしたら俺の仲間かも。だから声かけて、何度も声かけて。諦めかけた時に
No.
お前、俺嬉しかったんだよ。一人がいいだなんて嘘だ。本当は俺だって
Being a lone wolf was never cool.
仲良くしたかった。
Wolf's tears were contagious, and Red soon began to shed a few of his own.
外に出てはいけないという言いつけを破ってまでも出たかったのは狼と会っておばあさんと会って。
I don't really understand why Red Riding Hood's mom was so mean. Was she trying to protect him because he had the ears? But she said he was an angel and everyone else is wolves. And she knew that people would dislike him if they saw that he was a wolf.
結局自分のせいで一人ずっと寂しかった。寂しかった。
Tears rolled down his cheeks as his heart began to defrost.
ようやく認めたな。
何を。
それがお前が抱えていた罪の正体。
You, my friend, have a guilt complex. Grandma, guilt complex. Good job, Nervous. You called it.
ああ、そうだ。聞いたことくらいはあるだろう。自分のありように関して自分は悪い。お前は過去に起きた出来事により心を深く閉ざしてしまった。お前は笑うことを、幸せになることを許さなかった。ゆりかも言ったが、長年の孤独はお前の心を凍らせてしまうだろう。その証拠に俺をどうにかしようとしたろ。内包した罪悪感が許容を超えた時、自分でも意識し、それは自分を傷つけるだけでなく、自分が悪いのはあいつのせいだという風にな。お前は今まで自分を厳しく罰していたようだが、それはいつまでも続かない。
So I guess Huntsman isn't actually a jerk, because we're learning it was all part of the ruse, even when he was a jerk to Eureka at school.
俺も漁師という仕事の関係上、お前のことは
I'm a hunter, so I know everything about
これ以上
wolves.
手遅れになる前にお前を助ける必要があった。あとはまあ、お前にトラウマ作っちまったのは俺にも原因があるってのが気がかりでな。ま、どっかの誰かが大幅に書き換え。
I looked away awkwardly, but then Yoshi grabbed me by the head and forced me to look at Red.
罪悪感を癒すには誰かがお前を許すことだ。
許す。
ああ、そうだ。正直こんなクソまどろっこしいことしなくたって、ばあさんのことも
Yeah, maybe maybe that would have been the wiser way of going about it. Just like sit down and talk to him.
お前の場合はただそれだけ
You
じゃ
could try that first before the shock
さっ
treatment.
きも言ったが、お前の心は長いただ事実だけを説明したとして、お前は許された、お前が許されたと感じるためには、まずお前が自ら罪と向き合わなく、ま、そんな時に都合よくお前から脅迫状が届いた。
He conveniently had sent a blackmail letter to his sister, so that was how he could stage all of this.
お前は悪くないと。お前の善も悪もすべて受け入れてくれる。俺が書いたのはそういう筋書きだ。
Red looked from Wolf to me.
許されたんでしょうか。
そりゃお前が一番よく知ってんだろ。
つうわけだ。後の問題はお前に任せる。
Yoshi patted me on the head. Right.
ゆりかさん。
I balled my fists in my lap. Then, after a deep breath, I looked Red squarely in the eye. By the way, he just rescued them from the lake, so they're dripping wet and probably freezing. It's the middle of the night. I'm sorry, Red. Regardless of my motive, the fact is, I deceived you. I won't ask you to forgive me, and I won't blame you if you hate my guts for it. You've both been deceiving each other. You've, like, canceled each other out now. What? This unexpected reply caught me off guard. But it was all an act. Everything. I tricked you. I knew Wolf and Yoshi were behind a lot of the harassment, but I chose not to tell you. On purpose.
それは分かっていますしかしそもそも
You
あ
both
なたが
suck.
巻き込ん
It's fine. Okay, valid point. Wait, no it isn't. I'm...
私はただあなたが無事でよかった
I meant to say I'm a bad person before he interrupted me. As I stared at him in surprise, he smiled slightly.
私はあなたが傷つくことが一番嫌だった
Oh, I'm getting teary.
ミス・アリス
I like that. I like that added effect. The blurry character. That's fun. Tears streaked down my face, one after another. My vision blurred until all I could see was a vague red smear. Then I hugged my head and choked out, "You're just too good to me. Please, call me by my name." I don't know how I found the strength to make that selfish demand at a time like this, but somehow I did. Sorry, I can't hear you. Could you repeat that? What is it, Red? I looked up and donned a smile, but my face was still messy with tears, so it must have looked pretty pathetic. I'm just so happy that he smiled at me, I couldn't stop myself.
一つ聞いてもいいですか
Like how we can't see. Sure, what is
あ
it?
なたが私を騙していたというならあな
Oh
た
ho
が
ho, there
私を
it
好きだと言っ
is.
たこともいえやはり答えてくれなくてもかも
Why is that?
私はバカですから疑うことを知らないんです
He smiled shyly. Aw, Red, will you forgive me in my part from the will you forgive me for my part in the deceit?
私はあなたを許しますそして私は
Good job, team.
私
Red! Oh! Unable to hold back, I threw my arms around him. That's a pretty cute CG, though. I like his ears. I love you so much!
ゆりかさんそんな状態で抱きつかれたら
Yep, she's still wet. Let's admire the CG. Very good. He also changed his outfit underneath the hood, like probably halfway through the game. I like this outfit better. Nice flurry, frilly collar. Go ahead and have your nose bleed. I'll be there to mop it up. Or punch me until I let go. Either way.
そんなことは
Yeah, I'm gonna wet the ruffles.
ですけどお兄さんも狼もいますし
Then consider me an exhibitionist. No, I don't think that's what it means,
シュ
Eureka.
ーレイ
No.
今変な想像しただろう
Well,
嬉しい
してないしてませんからね変な想像なんてするわけないだろうお前じゃあるまいしエロ狼
なんだよなんだよ俺らガキの頃
Whoa.
隠れてエロ本読んでた仲だろ
Now I get it. So Wolf's been a bad influence. Don't worry, any boyfriend of mine is permitted to dabble in porn magazines, no matter how kinky.
マジでなあなあアリスちゃんこんな童貞野郎じゃなくて俺と遊
Oh
ぼう
my
よ
god, this
俺
game.
の方絶対楽しいって
Hate to break it to you, Wolf, but I'm not the type to go to stray.
道草はいいっすよ楽しいっすよ
この辺にしておけ
いて
帰るぞ狼
マジでお兄さん妹
Oh my god, Isn't that a quote from, wow, I don't know, maybe it's from somewhere else. A hot beef injection is 10 things I hate about you. I used to always be like, oh my god, I can't believe it. Hot beef injection.
湖に捨てるぞ
それだけはマジ勘弁っすあの時はねマジで死ぬと思ったんすからブレアクション
おいユリカとりあえず固まってるそいつをなんとかしてやれ
Yeah, there are some good lines in this game. Sure thing. Thanks, Oni-chan. So I actually saw on Twitter the translator Molly was saying that Eureka is apparently canonically bilingual, and in the Japanese version she'll just randomly say things in English. So that's why they went with the random Japanese bits. And so Ryoshi walked off, dragging Wolf by the scruff of the neck. As for Red, he was opening and closing his mouth in rapid succession like a fish washed ashore. Well, looks like it's just the two of us. Time for the hot beef injection. With my arms still around his neck, I batted my lashes flirtatiously. Yes? Oh my god. You mean like a kiss? Oh, yeah, I'd like that. Mm-hmm. Yes, it definitely is a weird story. Even though I can't say I like the characters in this, I've enjoyed it to the degree that I kind of want to play the other route and just see how wild it is. That's kind of where I'm at. I pecked him on the lips. Hee hee. What is it they always say afterwards? Thanks for the treat? Is that what they say? Who says that? Thanks for the treat. I'm not going to stop loving you just because you're a wolf. I mean, sure, your animal side may catch me off guard from time to time, but I'm not entirely opposed. If anything, it's actually kind of endearing. I mean, what about him is really wolf-like aside from the ears anyway? Ever since the boys told me all about you, I was always a little curious, and after spending time with you, I was officially head over heels. So I asked Wolf to give me a slightly different role to play. You're always so earnest and dutiful, your shy side is adorable, your sincerity is sweet, you're just all around lovable. I promptly shut him up with my lips. We slowly pulled apart, and I smiled. Well, consider that your punishment for lying to me. Now it's your turn to punish me. Oh my goodness. I closed my eyes as if to say, have at it, tiger. The second kiss apparently exceeded his maximum threshold because he exploded into a nosebleed and passed out. What the? Red! Pull yourself together! Red! No! Reminds me of Snake in Metal Gear. That's why they call him Red. What? There's the wizard guy. And his name is Wizard, apparently. Just randomly here now. Who are you? Yeah. I love games that break the fourth wall. Yeah, one happy ending down. Thanks. Oh, I don't need a replay. We know what happened. Once upon a time, there lived a lonely little boy. The boy was perpetually isolated. Why? Because his mother had warned him that the outside world was full of wicked wolves, and he wasn't to speak with them. And so he lived hidden away from the world with no personal connections. But the boy yearned to explore the world, and one day, while his mother was away, he snuck out of the house to visit the lake. The outside world was vast and filled with things he'd never seen before, but the boy only ever ventured to the lake alone. It was expected for children his age to attend school, but not him. Then, one day, a boy named Wolf called out to him. The lonely boy remembered his mother's warning and tried to ignore Wolf, but over time he found it hard to believe that the other boy could be wicked. The more they talked, the closer the two boys became. Wolf had a poor constitution and lived with his grandmother. After she met the lonely boy, she sewed him a Red Riding Hood so he could conceal his unusual appearance from the world. It suited him well, and from that day forward, everyone referred to him as the Red Riding Hood. Every day spent with Wolf was a blast for Red Riding Hood. Day after day, he would sneak out of the house to go see him. One day, the two boys were playing together when all of a sudden, a man rushed over to them. The man told them that grandmother had fallen ill and was looking for her grandson. Then the man grabbed Red Riding Hood's arm instead of Wolf's. "I'm not Wolf." Should have been an easy feat to correct the misunderstanding, but instead Red Riding Hood left to go visit grandmother in place of Wolf. In doing so, he had betrayed not only his mother, but now Wolf and grandmother as well. I did not even mention the fact that Wolf was in the middle of drowning at this time. When he returned home that night, he was surprised to see all the lights were on. His mother was home. Hesitantly, he opened the door, and inside he found his mother staring at him with cold, distant eyes. That night, his mother never returned to him again. He cursed himself for disobeying her. If only he hadn't disobeyed his mother and gone astray, he never would have betrayed and ultimately lost everyone he cared about. Alone, Red Riding Hood looked at himself in the mirror. Big ears, sparkling eyes, and a deceitful tongue. That was when he realized the real reason his mother kept him inside was because he himself was a wicked wolf. From then on, Red Riding Hood decided never to get attached to anyone ever again. Instead, he chose a life of quiet solitude. His mother was gone, Wolf and his grandmother were gone. He lived alone, without anyone by his side. He would never go astray again. That was his punishment. Time passed. One sunny day, a much older Red Riding Hood spotted a hunter walking by. As luck would have it, are we gonna go through all of this? Okay. As luck would have it, it was the same man who had mistaken him for Wolf that fateful day. The hunter was walking with a princess whose smile was radiant like the sun. Weighted down with a crushing loneliness, Red Riding Hood grew unbearably jealous. Then something occurred to him. If he transformed into a police officer to protect the princess, he could use her to get close to the hunter. Having successfully wormed his way into the princess's castle, Red Riding Hood attempted to frighten the princess, but nothing worked as planned. Instead, an entirely different big bad wolf started to harass her as well. The more time he spent with her, the more he sincerely wanted to keep her safe. But the more he felt for her, the more guilty he felt for deceiving her. Once he caught the big bad wolf, Red Riding Hood vowed to confess everything to the princess. The moment he took his eyes off her, she was kidnapped by the big bad wolf. When he went to the lake to rescue her, there he found a much older wolf holding the princess hostage. As it turned out, Wolf was the other big bad wolf. He ordered Red Riding Hood to admit his crimes in exchange for the princess's safe return. Convinced that his friend resented him for visiting grandmother in his place, Red Riding Hood apologized again and again, but Wolf didn't care. Eventually, Wolf lost patience and tried to hurt the princess. In a panic, Red Riding Hood lunged forward, sending the three of them toppling into the lake. Once Red Riding Hood had rescued the two of them, he apologized for his deceit. The truth is, I am a big bad wolf. At this, the princess's sunny smile clouded over, and she apologized in turn. I knew you were deceiving me, and I was deceiving you right back. And then the hunter walked over and revealed the truth. It was all part of an elaborate ploy set up by Wolf, the princess, and the hunter himself. Now, as an adult, Red Riding Hood was still chained down by the sins of his childhood, and solitude was his miserable punishment. There was only one way to save him, to forgive his crimes. When Wolf told him to admit his crimes, what he really meant was, come to terms with your mistakes. The princess forgave Red Riding Hood for telling lies, and Red Riding Hood forgave her in turn, as well as himself. And so, vindicated by the power of love, Red Riding Hood and the princess lived happily ever after. Okay, we did it. cute. Ta-da! And now we know the story 2 times over. Well, that was fun. Somewhat. I still don't like red. So, yeah, we did it. Yeah, we got it. So Tomoaki Maeno, who plays Red Riding Hood, I think was Lupin in Code Realize. I think that's why I wanted to play this route first. But oh, the wolf was Natsuki Hanae. Okay, yeah, I thought he sounded familiar. Makes sense now. It was something, wasn't it? Thanks for sticking through it, Nervous. I don't know. I guess I should play Cinderella sometime. But I think I might have to take a break from this nonsense and play some Monster Hunter in the future. Maybe I'll go through and see the bad endings. This guide says, the bad endings are uniquely fun. Try them. I mean, we got one of them, and I wouldn't say that was particularly interesting. The one where you just get locked in the room. Oh, so the English translation was actually done by Jazz USA. I didn't realize that. I mean, I didn't know it was done under the Jazz USA umbrella. That's cool. I think they did a great job. I thought the writing was really well done. Maybe I just picked the bad route. Maybe Cinderella's way better. So we still don't understand why other Alice, the male Alice, is there in this story. Very weird. Yes, Dramatical Murder just came out. I have a review on my site if you want to give it a read. I really enjoyed it. I had never played it before, actually. Just like a few hours of the Japanese PS Vita version. Yep, so there are no spoilers in the review, so you don't have to worry about that. I am recording my spoiler podcast with Marcus tomorrow, so the spoiler special episode where we discuss the game. So we'll release that this coming week. So if you play the game and later want to hear our thoughts on all the different routes and things, you can listen to that. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would say it's like, oh, there's more story here. Okay, hold on. Thanks. Okay, I'm just assuming that this is going to be a little bit more text and we're going to jump back to the main menu. If not, I'll end soon because I want to finish up here, but let's just see. Once upon a time in the Looking Glass world, there lived a lonely young man who spent all of his days in perfect solitude. He lived hidden away from the world with no personal connections to speak of. But that's all in the past now. Oh, it's like the epilogue. Okay. Alright. What's he gonna say? Hello, who is it? Might I intrude upon your domicile? Red, welcome. You're rather early. You're suspecting Grumpy Alice is the true root mystery boy? Yeah, I think that probably would make sense. Whoa, hello. Ah, so yes, we've completely replaced grandmother in the grandmother guilt complex. So we're getting some carnations now. Ooh, a tea party. I want to have a tea party. Of course, likewise. Thanks for coming. Yes? What is it? Wow, what lovely carnations. For me? I picked them from those bushes directly behind me. Thank you so much. I love them. Yes? Is it time for the hot beef injection? Nope, just you so far. Red? Care to explain exactly why you turned up ahead of time? So you want to be alone with me?
そうです。
This is like wedding
あなた
music
と
or
二人き
something
り
with
に
the
なりたかったん
organ.
です。
Of course not. Mushiro dai kange. It's so weird. Random Japanese.
それでですね、今日こそはあなたにあの時のお返事をと思いまして。
What question?
はい、あの時の
Hmm?
ゆりかさん、私はあなたのことが
Yes.
好きだらけです。
Should have seen that one
い
coming.
え、違います。今のは間違いです。忘れてください。
Okay, poof. Memory deleted.
では、もう一度やり直しますね。
Okay.
ゆりかさん、私はあなたのことが
He's gonna pass out. Hello.
すみません。わざとじゃないんです。ついなんというか、こういうことには慣れていなくて、というより初めてと言いますか。
Mm-hmm. Look, Red, you don't have to tell me today. I'll gotta wait until you're ready.
それではダメなんです。
Okay, why is it
それ
unacceptable?
はあなたにばかり告白させて、それをいつまでも保留にするのは男らしくありません。
Red.
カーネーション、
Oh, he looks like he's gonna cry now. Hmm?
ゆりかさん、あなたは知っていますか？
He needs a nap
赤
or
いカー
something.
ネーションの花言葉。
Nope. Will you tell me?
赤いカーネーションの花言葉は母の愛。愛を信じる。
Don't start with maternal love, maybe.
熱
Could
烈
omit
な
that
愛
one
だそう
for
です。
now. Ardent love?
はい。ゆりかさん、私はあなたのそばにいると溺れたように息が苦しくなって、心臓がドキドキして、でもそれは決して嫌な気持ちではなくて、
Mm-hmm.
そしてあなたと離れているときはあなたの顔ばかりが思い浮かんで、でそれはなぜなのか自
My
分なりに考えて
conclusion
み
is
た
that
ん
I
です。
must be quite interested in you.
そのいえ、違いますね。私はあなたにいつの間にか夢中になっていたのだ。ゆりかさん、好
Yes?
きです。私はあなたのことが大好きです。だからそのすみません。
Oh, ho, ho. Red? What was that?
これは私を騙したあなたへの罰です。
Hmm?
花束越しですが、
Thanks for the treat. That's what they say, isn't it? Thanks for the treat.
どうしましたか？顔が真っ赤ですよ。もしかして
This is
また
giving
風
me
邪で
like
すか？
secondhand embarrassment. My chest aches and I can't
それは大変
breathe.
です。今すぐベッドに運ばないと。
Bed?
ゆりかさん、ゆりかさん。
And they lived happily ever after. Very cute. Thanks for the treat, Taisho Alice. Yay, we did it. I think the top screen will change. There we go. Look, since we beat it, we get a different screen. You can look at memories now. Oh, that's it? Oh. Interesting. Oh, okay. Interesting. Oh, there we go. We did it. thanks for watching, and I think, as I said, I'll take a break from Taisho Alice for a bit, but I'm so happy I finished it now, and then I will eventually, when I'm sick of Monster Hunter maybe, I'll come back to this and play through Cinderella's route one of these days. Thanks again, hope you have a great weekend, and I'll be streaming again in the near future. Hopefully next weekend I'll play some Monster Hunter, and hope to see you then. Thanks again, bye bye!